Hey guys, it's Rachel from the Little Ring Lamb. Today I'm doing the Disney book tag. I was tagged by Tiffany from About to Read. You should definitely check out her video as well as her whole channel. And this tag was created by Kat from Catty-tastic, and I'll put both their channels in the down bar for you guys to check out. So let's get started with the questions because there's quite a lot of them. 1. The Little Mermaid. A character is out of their element, a fish out of water. Definitely a character who's a fish out of water is Emma from the Lion Game series by Sarah Shepard. Now I've only read the first 2 books in the series, so don't spoil me on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th book in the series. But from the first 2 books, at least from the first book, you get Emma, and this is not a spoiler, this is basically the dust jacket, but she finds out she had a long-lost twin. That twin is dead, and somebody lures her to the town, and she has to pretend to be her twin. So literally, she's a fish out of water. She doesn't know the family she's living with, doesn't know her twin sister, who's not even there, has to figure out where her twin sister is, and doesn't know her friends or any location around her. So she's literally a fish out of water. 2. Cinderella. A character goes through a major transformation. A character goes through a major transformation. Now, I think in one of the most recent tags, I answered something different than this answer, but I tried to change it up and pick a few new books that also have major transformations in their characters. And I'm going to pick the main character, which I forget what her name is in this book, Lexington, from 52 Reasons to Hate My Father by Jessica Brody. Now, Lexington goes through quite a big transformation. She goes from being more self-absorbed and stuff to really growing up quite a bit because her father puts her to work. She has to do 52 jobs, and that's her 52 reasons to hate her father, and throughout that she learns to grow and become more compassionate and stuff like that. So she went through quite a major transformation from the beginning to the end of the novel. 3. Snow White, a book of an eclectic cast of characters. So I had to look up the eclectic, I think. I'm not sure how to say that, but I had to look that up because that's a word I hadn't actually heard before. And it just said basically like a cast of characters, and it said there's a lot of difference, there's a lot of differences being thrown out and stuff, like there are different people coming together kind of thing. That's what I got from that. But anyway, I picked the characters from the Princess Diaries series. I just picked this book out of the series because it was on top of the stack, because I have them stacked horizontally. And I think just the whole cast of characters are friends. They're all different. 4. Sleeping Beauty, a book that put you to sleep. Sleeping Beauty, a book that put me to sleep. I don't own the book that put me to sleep, nor have I read it since. But it was in grade 8. I had to read The Secret Garden. I don't know who that's by. I know it's a classic and people love it, but honestly, that is the only book I've had to put myself through, like, torture, like, myself. Like, I'd be setting a timer. I'd hit my arm. I'd be like, read, like, that book. I do not like that book. I don't see the appeal, honestly. Like, my friend had an illustrated version, so I can get the appeal of that, like, illustrated chapter book, but don't get the appeal. 5. The Lion King. A character had something traumatic happen to them in childhood. So for a tragedy or traumatic event happening in childhood, I picked Jack from Room by Emma Donoghue. Now, he's still a child in this book, but he had quite a traumatic childhood. You learn from the back, basically, that his mother and him have been trapped in this room and they've been kind of held hostage, but he was born into this situation, so he's unaware that's traumatic until later events in the book. That's all I'm going to say about that because I don't want to spoil it. But it's a very really hard to read perspective from him because he's so ignorant to the world around him, and he's been through quite a tragedy without knowing he's been through a tragedy. 6. Beauty and the Beast, a beast of a book, so a big book that you're intimidated by, but found the story to be beautiful. So a book that's big that I end up loving instead. I'm just going to hold up one of the books from the series, but I'm just holding up the 3rd book in the series, but I'm going to say for my answer, Outlander. Behind me, I don't know if you can see it, but it's stacked horizontally, so I don't really want to pull all the books out of the way, but basically Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. It's a giant book. It's smaller than this book, but I believe it's close to 900 pages or it's 850, but it's a very big book. It's very intimidating, but it was very good story. I read in a week, so I really enjoyed that, and it was quite a beast of a book, and they just keep getting bigger. So 7. Aladdin, a character gets her wish granted for better or worse. So this question was actually very hard for me to answer, but in the end I kind of picked like what would be the word? A stretch of an answer. That's what I was going to say. A stretch of an answer. And I picked Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson. Now, this girl suffers, I forget her name, Christine. She suffers from memory loss and is really bad. Like, every day she starts a new day and she write down, like, there's little clues around her house, like who her husband is and what kind of things she does during the day. So she really wants to know what happened in her accident that made her this way and kind of regain her memories and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a wish because she wants to remember, but I don't know if it'd be a curse or a blessing. You'll have to see if you read this to judge if it'd be a curse, if it's a curse or a blessing if she did find out what happened or if she doesn't find out. So I kind of picked that, even though it's a stretch, but it's all I could really think of. 8, Mulan, a character who pretends to be someone or something they're not. So for a character who pretends to be something they're not, I picked Becky Bloomwood from the Shopaholic series once again. This series is another one that's stacked horizontally, and this was just the one on top. But basically Becky, like at the beginning, and usually throughout the book, she's always trying to impress somebody and she's always pretending to be something she's not. For example, in like the first book, it's either the first or second book, she pretends to be like more savvy with her money, and she kind of pretends to be something she's not to try to impress Luke, but that doesn't really work out very well to her. And in the latest book, she's, you know, back at it again. I don't really want to give that away because it's the 7th book in the series, but she just basically tries to be something she's not all the time, and then she comes to a realization that it's hard to change. 9, Toy Story, a book of characters you wish would come to life. 9, a book of characters I wish would come to life. I picked Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I just think it'd be very interesting, not the dinosaurs to come to life, because, you know, I could live without them, because we've seen those movies, like, you know, something is going to go wrong, or people are going to get, you know, greedy like the last one, and genetically engineer new dinosaurs, like, you know. But I'd like to see the characters. The characters I'm very specifically interested in, the character is Hammond. I really find him a very intriguing character, and I think it'd just be really cool to hear him speak, especially because usually the people with the most passion are the best ones to hear, like do like a public speech or something about it, or just to talk to, because they're just oozing out passion that you can just kind of like collect for yourself and like kind of put into your inspirations. It's just very interesting and very cool to see people who are passionate about something really talk about it. I just find it that cool. 10, Disney Descendants, your favorite villain or morally ambiguous character. 10, I also pick Hammond from Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I decided to pick him again because he's not necessarily an evil character, because he does want like everything to go fine, and he's not horribly evil, but he kind of is evil because he kind of doesn't factor in like the dangers of the park, and especially bringing his grandchildren Lex and Tim in the park. And he's kind of morally ambiguous, I found, because he, like, even when the park's failing, he doesn't blame it on himself. He doesn't, like, it's not necessarily all his fault, but, you know, he kind of got the ball rolling, so it kind of is his fault, and he doesn't really take a lot of responsibility for anything. I don't know, he's kind of like an evil character, but he's one that you like. He's not like a hateful evil character, and he's not intentionally being evil. He's just caught up in his dreams, and he just can't burst that bubble, so to speak. But yes, that has been the Disney book tag. I really enjoyed doing this tag, and I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.